Welcome back to the Inner Citadel. And today we take our first step towards freedom. In our last two episodes, we explored Maya, the cosmic illusion that wields reality, and the ego, that false sense of self we mistake for who we are. We have seen the prison, now let's find the key. The Upanishads tell us there are two birds sitting on the same tree. One bird frantically hops from branch to branch, eating sweet and bitter fruits, sometimes satisfied, sometimes suffering. The other bird simply watches, calm and undisturbed, never eating, never moving, just witnessing. This is the Mundaka Upanishad's teaching, and it points to something radical. You are not the bird that suffers, you are the one who watches, who witnesses. Most of us spend our entire lives identified with the doing, the thinking, the feeling. We say, I am angry, I am sad, I am successful, I am a failure. But the ancient rishis discovered something extraordinary through meditation and observation, that there is a part of you that simply observes all of this, a silent awareness that watches your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky. The awareness in which thoughts arise. This is called the Sakshi in Sanskrit, the witness. Right now, as you listen to these words, notice there are thoughts arising in your mind. Maybe you are agreeing, maybe you are disagreeing, or planning what to do after this episode. But here's the question the sages pose: who is aware of these thoughts? You might say, I am. But look deeper. The thought arises and something sees it arise. That seeing itself, that pure awareness, cannot be a thought. It's what makes thoughts possible. It's like the screen on which a movie plays. The screen isn't a movie, it remains untouched, whether the film is a tragedy or a comedy. This is your true nature, not the content of experience, but the awareness of it. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that the self cannot be cut by weapons, nor burned by fire, nor wetted by water, nor dried by wind. Why? Because the witness exists prior to all experiences. It is the knower of all the states, waking, dreaming, deep sleep, but is itself beyond all these states. Think about your life. You were a child once, different body, different thoughts, different personality. Then a teenager, then who you are now. Everything changed, but something remained constant, didn't it? That sense of I am, that basic awareness, has been there all along, unchanged, watching the whole story unfold. That awareness is the Atman. It is the awareness. The beautiful thing is, you don't need to create this awareness or witness. You don't need to become it. You already are it. The spiritual path isn't about acquiring something new through some practice or something. It's about recognizing what's always been here. It's like someone searching everywhere for their glasses while they are wearing on their head already. So, how do we recognize the witness? It is simple but profound. Throughout your day, especially in moments of strong emotion or thought, pause and ask, who is aware of this? When fear rises, instead of saying, I am afraid, notice there is fear, there is sensation, and there is awareness of fear. Which are you? When a thought comes, instead of getting lost in it. Just notice there is thinking and there is awareness of thinking. This gentle shift from being the actor to being the audience is called witness consciousness, and it's the first crack in the prison of the ego. Raman Maharishi, the great sage of Arunachala, taught a method called self inquiry. He would ask seekers to trace every thought, every sensation, every experience back to its source. To whom does this thought arise? The answer is always to me. Then the next question is, who am I? Who is this me to whom this thought arises? Not as a philosophical question, not to get some answer, but as a direct investigation. Look for the I that experiences everything. You won't find it as an object because it's the subject, the eternal witness behind all seeing. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When you rest as the witness, something miraculous happens. Life continues, thoughts come and go, emotions rise and fall, the body acts. But there's a new spaciousness. You are no longer crushed by your experiences. There's breathing room, freedom. This doesn't mean you become cold or detached. Actually, it is the opposite. When you are not desperately clinging to experiences, you can engage with life more fully, more authentically. A parent can love their child more deeply when they are not lost in their own mental drama. An artist can create more freely when they are not imprisoned by self judgment. The witness is not disconnection, it's the ground of your true connection. But here's the warning the scriptures are clear about. The witness is not the final destination, it's a profound step, yes. It liberates you from identification with the mind and the body. But there is something even deeper, which we'll explore in our next episode. Because while the witness observes the individual story, there is an ultimate reality beyond even the observer and observed. The Upanishads call it Atman, the self that is one with Brahman, the absolute. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. For now, think about it. Begin to notice the witness in meditation, in daily life, in moments of stress or joy. Step back into the awareness that's always here. Don't force it, just gently recognize it. You are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not even your body. You are the unchanging awareness in which all this appears. You are the awareness. Thank you for joining me on the Inner Citadel. In our next episode, we'll go deeper, still exploring the Atman, the eternal self that the Upanishads declare can never be destroyed, never be touched, never be anything other than complete. Until then, rest in awareness.